I have been so beyond excited to sit down and film my first Pan That Palette update of 2025 because this palette is looking a hell of a lot different than it did this time last month. This is my Colourpop That's Taupe palette with a twist, and it is my Pan That palette for this year. I have been... just this update is insane. I have been panning this palette casually for the last few months of 2024, but it's only when I sat down and added up these numbers for this month that I realised just how casual that project pan was with this palette. It wasn't even a project pan, to be honest. Most of these uses this month are way over what I used this palette in the last few months of 2024 combined. Just in this 1 month, I have done amazing on this palette, and I'm so excited to see the usage in this next year. I have 2 new pans to share with you guys that you did not see last month, which just means this is going so well. But of course, definitely like and subscribe before we jump into this video. As I said, this is going to be incredible. You do not want to miss this progress, so definitely turn on notifications. I also do other project pans. I do a rolling project pan, pan those eyeshadows, pan that face palette, and project 10 uses. And I also love bright, fun, colourful makeup. This look is going to be a Get Ready With Me that's going to go live tomorrow, so stay tuned for that because we talk about some pretty interesting things, if I do say so myself, so you don't want to miss it. So that's Taupe with a twist. I do have 3 shades from the Blue Moon palette in my That's Taupe palette. So without further ado, this is what this palette looked like this time last month. You could see that it was kind of used-ish. The shade Clued In, which is the dark blue, did have a pan in this, and I'm pretty sure this was the only pan that we had in this palette. This was the official start to 2025, and this is what this palette looks like today. We not only have a pan in Pebble Beach, but we also have a shade in Bedrock, which is the deep brown, and I'm so excited about this because I was not expecting this at all. 2 new pans in 1 month. So technically, this shade Bedrock, it is the shade Constrictor. It's labelled as Constrictor, but it is Bedrock. A few shades mismatch names, but it's fine. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But Bedrock was technically hit pan on at the very end of December. So technically not this month, but I mean, it's new since you've seen it. So I'm counting it. I'm counting it as this month. And also Pebble Beach, this shade also has a pan on it. I'll talk about that shade more in a little bit. I'm going to go through each shade individually, tell you about uses and all that kind of stuff. But I have a lot of thoughts about this palette. Some good, some bad. So let's jump into the uses. Let's start with Boa. I'm terrified of this shade. I'm not going to lie. I'm really scared of it. This month I've used this 21 times for a total of 72 uses in the project. So like I said before, I was working on this a little bit at the end of 2024, so I have combined those uses. Technically this is the first official update, but I still wanted to include 2024's usage as well. So 72 uses. Can you see a dip? Maybe the tiniest, weeniest little bit of a dip. I can feel a little bit of a dip, but 72 uses, and it still looks pretty untouched, which I'm terrified. I'm terrified about. I think this is going to be a really difficult shade to hit pan on. I'm really scared. The only good thing about this is that it is so easy to use. I just use it to set my lid at the start of every single eye look, so it's really not mentally challenging to use. It's just going to be an absolute pain. It is so firmly pressed, it is kind of ridiculous. So I'm a little bit scared. Funnily enough, the shade Pebble Beach is the opposite. This is the most kick-uppy, loosely pressed eyeshadow I have used in a very long time. I've only used this 6 times this month for a total of 14 uses in the project. So 14 uses we got pan. Literally, I look at this and it flies up. It is so delicate, it is crazy. I should say as well, my goal for each of these shades was to use everything 10 times this month. So there are a few shades that I didn't quite meet that goal, but honestly, like I've hit that goal on most things, which again, I'm really, really proud about. So this shade, I'm not worried about at all. This shade is going to be finished pretty soon. I'm really not worried about it. I think I could probably finish this in 2 to 3 months if I really start focusing on it now. I will talk about goals and stuff later on. I don't think I'm going to focus on this for a while yet, but again, I'll talk about that later on. But it's a very easy shade to use, and I've hit pan on it. This shade, Lumi, is one of my favourite shades. I have used this 11 times this month, and that is 11 total uses because at the end of 2024, we weren't panning these 3 blues. So 11 uses. This definitely has a bit of a dip in it, which is amazing. I use this mainly in the inner corner and things like that, and I pair it with these blues quite a lot. I'm not worried about this at all. The dip in here is pretty major, so I'm pretty happy about that. The shade Slated I have used 10 times for a total of 18 uses. This is a really beautiful, high shine, almost super shock shadow kind of look. I really do enjoy this shade. It's a really nice one. The next shade, Snake Eyes, I've used 8 times for a total of 19 uses in the project. So I didn't hit that 10 use goal, but again, you can see there's a pretty big dip forming in this. And I'm really happy with that progress. With just 8 uses this month, I think I've done really well. Next shade, we have Starry Eyed, and I've actually only used this 3 times this month. These blues definitely get used a lot less, but I think that's kind of a given. The blues are a lot harder to use than these everyday shades. I definitely use these 6 shades a lot more than these 3 blue ones, but that's okay. I kind of knew that that was going to happen. Even though I love blue, I knew that these ones would be a little bit more neglected. That's okay though. I'm happy if these 3 aren't completely finished by the end of the year. They're blue eyeshadows. They're really difficult. As long as I hit pan on them, I think I'm pretty good. The next shade, Rocksteady, I have used 13 times this month for a total of 20 uses in the project. I think this is going to be very similar to Boa because, I mean, there is a little bit of a dip in here, but like nothing major at all. I really think that this and Boa are the 2 just clinging together. There is no kick up in this, which makes me really confused about Pebble Beach, to be honest, but whatever. Rocksteady is, she's clinging. She's clinging on for dear life. She is, yeah. She's going to be a real difficult one, I can just tell. Next I have the shade Bedrock. I've used this 22 times in the project for a total of 79 uses, and I do use this in my brows every single day, and as you can see, we have hit pan here. I do use this as a deepening shade as well. It's kind of like a multi-use shade, but if I don't use it on my eyes, I use it in my brows every single day. This is my focus brow shade, and I've hit pan on it. I've hit pan on it, finally. I'm just working on expanding this pan, and this is more of like a no-brainer kind of shade. I'm happy just casually using it, seeing what happens. And then finally, the shade Clued In. I sadly have only used this 2 times this month, which is not very good, but as I said, I'm kind of okay with like neglecting, quote unquote, the blues, because I know that they are really difficult. So yeah, I hit most of these 10 use goals, which I'm really excited about. I do have some looks to share with you with this palette, so let's talk about those. I'm not wearing it today. I'm wearing the Minka palette today. Finally, I got round to trying that. So the first look that I want to share with you is this look. This is definitely very colourful. This is, yeah, she's a lot, and these are the blues. So on the inner part of this look, I did use Starry Eyes, which is the middle blue. Then I used this deep blue as a winged eyeliner, and then on the inner corner, I used the shade Lumi, and I did use them in conjunction with some Those Eyeshadow shades, so some purples from my Book of Magic, and then a grey shade from my Odin's Eye Silvery Bliss palette. So this is a really good project pan look. I got a lot of use on a lot of different projects with this look, and I really, really liked it. Very colourful, very me. Then I did this look. This was one of my go-to everyday kind of looks. It's very, very basic. I use the shade Rock Steady, I'm pretty sure, all over the lid. Then I use the shade Constrictor just to deepen out that outer corner and really make it quite smoky and quite dramatic. And then I decided to put Slated all over the lid. I use these two not in conjunction, but like I either use one or the other. I use this one, Snake Eyes, when I'm having a bit more of a neutral, like everyday kind of day. And then Slated is when I'm like, I want some shimmer. I want some shimmer. I want some sparkle, I want some glam, and this was definitely that kind of look. Really, really enjoyed it. I feel like it goes so well with my eye colour as well. I've really fallen in love with this palette over the past month, and I'm really, really happy to be panning it. Makes a change from the struggle that was Modern Renaissance, but we move. So this was another look in conjunction with Pan Those Eyeshadows. I used Pebble Beach and I used Constrictor on the outer part of this look, and then I used a purple from my Pan Those Eyeshadows on the inner part of the look just to have a little bit of a something different. I thought this was really cute. The purple isn't like, whoa, that's purple. It is quite a neutral, subtle purple. So I really did enjoy this look with some neutrals as well. Purple and neutral is a colour story I don't do that often, but I really should because it is really, really pretty. So next I did this look. This is more of a dramatic winged look. So I started this crease with the deep grey that is in my Odin's Eye Silvery Bliss palette. I keep forgetting the name of that. Then I tried to blend this out with Rock Steady because I thought the Odin's Eye shade is a grey and this is like a super taupey grey shade. They really did not want to blend together. I don't know why, but they took a long time to blend. So I don't think I'm going to be trying that again just because it was an absolute nightmare. And then I did end up putting Snake Eyes all over the lid for this look as well. Obviously I cut with a makeup wipe, made it really dramatic, really smoky. I think the end result of this look was nice, but trying to blend everything together was a nightmare. And of course, with all of these looks, Boa I used to set the lid, and the shade Bedrock I use in my brows. Next, this isn't a very good picture, but I'll try my best to edit it to look a little bit nicer. This again was Pebble Beach, Bedrock, Snake Eyes on the lid. All of the crease work were these two shades. Then I put Cold Blooded on the lower lash line as a little bit of a pop of blue. So I did want to play around with some like neutral and blue color stories. I love neutral and blue so much, and this was definitely one that I wanted to just like, I could kind of tell that these blues were getting a little bit neglected. So I was like, you know what, we're going to use some blues. And this was the look that I came up with. And I'm pretty sure this is the final one. Again, this was Rock Steady, Bedrock, and Slated. Very, very neutral, very, very subtle, very, very everyday. So you know what? I've actually been good at taking pictures this month. Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me? I never normally am very good at taking pictures at all, but I did it this month. So for weights, I'm actually really, really proud of this weight difference. So last month in January in the intro, this weighed 92.34 grams. This month, today in February, it weighs 91.78 grams, meaning in the past month I have used up 0.56 grams. Over half a gram. That is insane. That is incredible. I'm going to continue to use this a hell of a lot. I'm going to get loads and loads and loads and loads of use on them. So now let's talk about goals. So the shade Pebble Beach and Rock Steady. These two, I never use both of these in the same look. I either use one or the other. And I have two options, so please let me know what you think I should do down below. Pebble Beach, I could have this out and finished very, very, very soon. So I could either do that and just focus on this and kind of neglect this one for now and have this completely done, and it could be the first empty shade in this whole palette very, very quickly. Or I could focus on Rock Steady and try and hit pan on it because I know this is gonna be a nightmare. A nightmare. I thought that I was gonna focus on Rock Steady, but now I sit here, I might focus on Pebble Beach because I'm constantly scared that this is going to break and shatter because it is so loosely pressed. And I kind of think it would be nice to have that stress away. If this is completely done, it can't shatter and break. Maybe I do that first and then focus on Rocksteady. I really don't know. But I think I'm going to just focus on one or the other. I don't know. Let me know what you think with those two shades down below. I think I will keep that 10 use goal for all of these shades. Obviously, either or with these two. I don't think I want to focus on both of them in the same month, just because, again, I kind of alternate them. I can't use them in the same look, and I don't know. I just don't know. I hope that my little ramblings made sense there. I would like to hit pan on Lume. I think that's going to be a pretty easy goal. The dip is pretty big in this, so hit pan on Lume next month. And also, I think I'm going to hit pan on Snake Eyes as well. I think I'm really going to focus on Snake Eyes because this dip is pretty big. Not as big as Pebble Beach, obviously, but I think with some work, I can really focus on that and really get some damage done on that. So hopefully next month, 2 new pans. I don't know, now I think of it, if that 10 use goal is the wisest thing, because if I'm trying to hit pan on this, I'm not going to be using this shade. I don't really use them in same looks. I could try and have this on the outer part and then this on the inner part of the lid. That could be cool. I don't know. The only things set in stone are I want to hit pan on these two shades. I think that's the only thing set in stone. We'll see how things go next month, but I'm really happy with this palette. I'm buzzing with this palette, and I'm so glad that there's no super warm tones. I'm so glad there's no oranges. Goodbye. Goodbye, Modern Renaissance. Good riddance. I'm so happy with this. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you think I'll have those 2 pans by next month? I really hope so. I'm really going to try. I have noticed that there's a lot more progress because I think at the end of last month I was just so burnt out. At the end of December I was so burnt out with project pans. I gave myself a month break from project pans and I feel so much better. I'm really excited for the future of this. I'm really loving it. I'm not burnt out at all yet. So yeah, let's keep going. And let's pan this palette. So let me know, how are you doing on your pan that palette? If you're doing one, if you're not, just leave a comment anyway. Let me know what you think of this progress. Do you think this palette will be done by the end of the year? I don't know, I would love that, but we will see. But this is it. This is where I'm gonna love you and leave you today, guys. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will see you tomorrow for this Get Ready With Me. So stay tuned. Bye bye.